How's it going, Preston Outdoors fans? Today we're going to be doing a video I've been looking forward to here for a little while. Been getting quite a bit of comments and questions about the boat, so we're going to dive into it and give you a tour of my Skeeter boat. Alright, my Skeeter boat is a 1997 20 foot. It's a ZX202C with a 200 Yamaha Pro V motor on the back of it. I got this last September. Before then I was fishing some tournaments with my fishing partner. We'd use his crest liner and also fished a couple tournaments out of my dad's 18-foot aluminum boat with a 60 horse Johnson on the back. That's the boat I really grew up fishing with, and like I said, I fished a couple tournaments with that one, and that was my all-around rig to fish with before then. So I decided to upgrade, let my dad have his boat back basically, and I knew I wanted a bass boat. Like I said, I'm getting into bass tournament fishing here, so we got this, and as you could see, I knew I would go over it a little bit later. I told you when I went over the graphs, but we're going to go start from the back, work all the way to the front, and kind of show you what this boat's made of. So like I said, on the back here is the power, the go-getter, the Pro V200 Yamaha. Also, I kind of touched on it in the electronics video. We put on two 10-foot power pole blades. These things work awesome. I've used them a few times now since I've been down here in Texas pre-spawn fishing. They're hooked up with hydraulic lines that run to the back here. I'll show you. It's kind of wires running everywhere, but you get your cranking battery, your two batteries for the depth finder, electronic stuff like that. Here's pump number 1, pump number 2 for the power poles, big gas tank here, another big gas tank here, I think roughly around 30 gallons a piece, something like that. So that's kind of the back area with all the interesting hookups that kind of basically run this whole thing. But here you can see both the poles. Like I said, they're 10 footers, and it was pretty cool. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was able to go out and fish a mid-lake hump. The top of it was 6 feet, and then it drop off into 20 feet, and it was really cool. You're basically in the middle of the lake. You can put these things down. The wind was blowing, and I sat on top of that hump and was able to fish it, which was really cool. So we're gonna hop into the boat here. So basically, I'm sitting on the cockpit here now, or was here. Anyway, we're gonna kind of run over this. The piece fell out. There we go. So we got that. You got all your control switches here. The bilge pump. Then you got live well, the port live well, and the starboard live well. Your courtesy lights for the lights that go up front and up in the back when you're running at night. These are your navigation lights as well. Or these courtesy lights run. There's internal lights in the boat. Navigation lights are the one that goes up in front. Fuel, you can check the fuel for each gauge. Port, starboard, off. There's a horn, and then the power for the switches up front here, on and off. Then you got your battery volt gauge, your water pressure, RPMs. This is since it's an older model, it has the Lowrance flasher unit built right into it, into the dash, and that switch is right here. This is also the timer for the Livewells for turning and recirculating water. Overheat alarm, low fuel or low oil alarm. You get your key, and then your throttle here. Again, speedometer, your trim here for the motor, up and down, and then your fuel gauge. With switching it, it lets you know when you switch the switch to starboard, it shows how much gas is in the starboard. Again, with the port, it'll show how much gas is in the port, so you can get a handle on that. Again, you guys have all seen these. Got the hummingbirds here. I don't have them hooked up. I just put them, got them. I don't have the power hooked up to them, but I just put them in the stands here to show you. So, and we go back here. You got one live well, two live wells. They're pretty good size. And you got another storage compartment here. I keep my rain gear in here. It looks like it'd be a lot bigger, but it obviously isn't as big because it's got the lip on there for waterproof. On this side I keep some extra rope, and then there's some rain pants in there, some extra rain pants. I get some rope, and then there's another prop that came with the boat that is all in there. Underneath the seats, now it's kind of dirty, but there's a cooler in there. Underneath this seat I got the extra depth finder, some extra rope, rod holders, marker buoys. Over here is this little side pocket. I keep all my trash in here so I don't just throw it. I know some people throw their trash in the water, which is littering and not good, but I mean, I got all my, you know, extra line, old lures, garbage, stuff like that. That goes in there. Gotta lock it because one day I was driving down the lake and it blew open and line got everywhere. Glove box, keep some toilet paper. This is really very important. Power pole, electronic fob. I got my Humminbird Lake Master chips, some extra lake maps, an extra bulb, some extra sunglasses, scales in there, all that kind of stuff. And this is cool. This is a little cooler as well. I don't use it at all, but put some ice and stuff in there. Keep your drinks cold, what have you. Now we're gonna move up to the deck. All right, I don't have any of my rods or tackle in here right now because I just got it back from the boat shop. But here on this side, this was kind of my storage locker. I still got some old buoys. Before I had the power poles and stuff, I put buoys along the side of the boat so that it wouldn't rub on the dock. I got an extra lantern, an oar, which is important, and then the lights, one that goes in the back and then one that goes up front if you're taking off or coming in after dark. Fire extinguisher, stuff like that. That's the side I only have about 4 or 5 spinning rods, so this is where I've been putting my spinning rods, on this side. Then on this side, this is where I keep all my bait casting rods. And there's even a rod cover here, and then the net, obviously. This runs up all the way up underneath the front, so I can keep my 7-11 8-foot rods in here just fine. Something that I noticed that other people do, they'll put you know, some kind of hook system here that you can keep lures and stuff to help dry them out, and I haven't got that far yet. I think it'd be a cool idea, but just haven't done it yet. And then the tackle storage areas is here. Right now I only got the throwable and a couple baits in there, but this is where I keep most of my soft plastics that don't have a case for them or a tackle box. So I've got some swim baits, 3.5 inch and 5 inch swim baits, and some extra Sinkos, some drop shot baits and stuff that I don't have enough of them to put in a tackle box. So I just keep them back here. I keep them in the packaging, and then I group them together with the kind of baits. I have creature baits in here that I don't have enough of a single kind to put in together. So I'll lump those together. The 3.5 swim baits are all lumped together in their individual packaging inside a big Ziploc bag. And then I keep my line in here too. I keep all the line, monofilament and fluorocarbon in one, and then braided line in another big Ziploc bag that I keep back in here, just in case on the water you got to retie, you know, leaders and stuff like that. And then up here, this front one here, I got some crappie jigs, some money swim minnows, and a hair jig and some extra line. But this is where I'm going to keep all my tackle boxes from your shallow diving crankbaits, deep diving crankbaits, 5 inch, 6 inch Sinkos, 4 inch Sinkos, my terminal tackle box, spinner baits, buzz baits. You know, all my main tackle will stay up here in this one. And again, it has this ability to put those, what they call the lure hangers or whatever, because when you're done using a lure, you still need it to like kind of dry out before you put it back in the box most of the time, because you don't want to put it back wet, because then it can cause rust. It'll get damp in there. So what I ended up doing is, if I keep crankbaits out and stuff like that, I'll just end up throwing them down here, because there's as you can see here, a built-in ruler, and I'll just hang the crankbaits kind of on here. It would be probably smart which I've actually looked into doing, is getting those hook hangers here. So you would attach it to this part, and then you'd put your hooks up there and stuff to dry, and that way you just put them in there, shut it during the day, and they'll dry themselves out, and then you can put them away at night. Or some people also keep their quick access baits here, you know, hanging spinner baits and stuff like that, or they even have clips now to where you can clip your soft plastic baggies. And so if you're looking for a soft plastic, you don't have to dig into it, you just open it up and they're just dangling right here, which is another option to do there. But I haven't really got into that yet. Here I gotta talk about this. I got a little GoPro mount where you see most of the videos shooting up towards the front up there. And this is a Pro Bass Challenge limited edition. I don't know if that, it's kind of cool that it has that. So it's a limited edition boat. Up front here we got again the Helix 9 SI unit with the big ram mount and everything. As you can see, this one, it's tilted up, you know, straight up at me, so I can just look down and do it, look down and see it. And some of the people have them mounted straight to the floor without one of those ram mounts, which would be cheaper. But then, you know, as just watching some other people use them and fishing with other people and watching the pros, sometimes, you know, if you want to get down and calculate it, I got to get down on my knee, you know, to kind of see it. Where this thing with the mount here, it stands just about to my knee high. So if I have to play with the sensitivity, change screen, stuff like that, I don't have to bend over as far. So it's kind of a cool like that. And then that huge ram mount, tighten it down. And I've been through some pretty bad waves. Phone call. I've been through some pretty bad waves, and that unit doesn't move, because that's what I was worried about with those big head units and moving and stuff. It works out good. So, and now the trolling motor. This is an 80-pound Minn Kota Maxim. See right there. Good trolling motor. Again, I mounted the SI Mega Imaging thing on the bottom of the trolling motor, like you've seen before. The one thing I haven't done yet, but I want to do, is take this controller unit, move it up here, and put 2 screws in it so it stays right there. Instead, I liked it before because I can move it if I'm fishing back farther or not. There's the ability to, but I'm going to screw those in nice and tight. Also have a butt seat that's in the bottom there. You can put it in the back, put it in the front. Also have a sitting seat that I'd put in the front when I had some people with me, but that's what these 2 holes are for. This one is where it goes. So, all right, it's a twin axle trailer. You see here, it's pretty cool setup. One of my cool things I like about the trailer is at night when you turn the lights on, the Skeeter sign lights up in yellow. Of course, you know my favorite color is yellow, but otherwise that's kind of a quick tour of the boat. Like I mentioned before, you know, I had, let's set this camera down here. Like I had mentioned before, I started off fishing with those inflatable fishing tubes. Graduated to it. We got a canoe, and then moved up and got my dad got that 18-foot boat when I was probably 14 years old, something like that. So as soon as I got my driver's license, you know, my dad gave me a little chance to prove myself, and was able to take the boat, you know, a couple miles away from the house, put it in and do some fishing. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, this is my baby now. So that's kind of the tour of it. Oh, I also wanted to show you, they had these, it's called the rod saver. You know, you velcro your rods in there, put them in, but they only had one on one side. They didn't have one on the other, and then the tips go over there. So what is cool about this is it's got its own bungee cords here. So I went and bought just bolts like this, and with the, you know, the little clevis here and the 2 screws, and there's one on that side. And then so I got it to where you can just boom, put that in there, and that thing works a lot, so I don't have to move all my rods to one side. Another cool thing about the boat is it's got its own rope here, so I can wrap that around the docks. Before I had the power poles and stuff, I'd take and wrap around take this rope out, wrap it around the dock, run back, and there's a tie-in thing here, wrap it around there, and there's one on each side on the front, so that's pretty cool. I'm just finishing up editing the the boat video here, I forgot to mention at the end, I will be doing some guiding for largemouth and smallmouth coming up here, probably beginning of May, so a couple months away anyway. But if any of you guys are on the Detroit Lakes area, the Fargo, North Dakota, Moorhead area, and want to go on a guided trip with me, I'll provide all the tackle and rods and stuff like that. You can find more information about that on PrestonOutdoors.com. If you want to get a hold of me, my phone number's on my website, and my phone number's on my Facebook page, stuff like that. Shoot me an email at PrestonOutdoors2@gmail.com to set up a date and everything like that, and get in touch and get that way. I'll be hopefully doing some guiding here to pay for some of the tournament entry fees and gas and stuff like that. So kind of be a good job, good way for me to make some money and teach some people about fishing. So if you're interested in that, get in touch with me that way, email, phone number, check out online at PrestonOutdoors.com like I mentioned before. But as always, thanks for your guys' support, and thanks for watching Preston Outdoors.